I want to go to your house. He's like, oh, okay, then I'm gonna drop you back home. And I'm like, what? I cannot believe at this point in my life, I'm like, okay. So then like I had something, okay, at 10 p.m. So then I told him like, oh, can you at least drop me where I'm going? Like, so then I will stay there. He's like, I'm not gonna drive all the way there. You know what I told him via text? I told him like, look, the last thing you will hear from me is that you deserve the people that you're with. Like you deserve the woman that you're with, because we're talking about a man that he doesn't know what it's like to do effort for a woman. He's like, let's go buy a pack of donuts and we will go to my house. Why? For what? Why would I go to your house? Even if it's not the first time I see you, why would I do that? Guys, can you imagine the shock? So he dropped me back home, okay? And I'm like, okay, thank you for the tour. You gave me a tour in the city. Loved it.
So after I gave him the ultimatum, he just looked at me in my face and was like, if you feel like you need to move, move. And so we went through 3 months of like chicken, where I had no friends in Vegas, no family in Vegas. I just really blurted that out. I did not mean it. I had no intention. I had no job. I had nothing. I had no plans on moving to Vegas. I thought I was going to force this man to propose to me.
But who told you it's a good idea to put a mature man against the wall? Why would you want to go this far to get him to marry you? Even if you went on with it, would it be worth it? This is the worst strategy to get a man to marry you. It will never work with a man who knows himself.
For 3 months, he was like, do what you got to do. You want to move, move. So the last day I was putting my stuff in the car, he came over and helped me put my stuff in the car. And we putting stuff in the trunk, and I just started crying. I'm like, you really gonna let me leave? He looked at me and he said, have a safe trip.
There's been so many times where women say to me, it's like, oh, I told him I want a divorce, but hoping he'd come back for me, but he let me pack my bags. So sometimes they file for divorce or take it that far as a way of testing their partner. And if they're with quite a healthy partner, they'll think you mean it.
So many women try to...
I like when she said this.
Sometimes they file for divorce or take it that far as a way of testing their partner. And if they're with quite a healthy partner, they'll think you mean it.
The easiest way to lose a confident man who knows himself is to use this type of strategy. It only works with guys who aren't sure about themselves or are dependent on their spouse. Don't try it with a mature and secure guy, because you are going to lose him.
test their men constantly.
It's an evolutionary thing, because here's the reality. Childbirth is potentially fatal. So to put that risk onto a relationship, he better be able to endure all types of storms. So we have to test them. So we have to, unfortunately, test them. We have to test, are they going to be faithful, financially stable, have their own boundaries? Now, the problem is, unfortunately for men, when we push you and you succumb to us, you automatically lose us. What we're saying when we're pushing you is really make sure you don't give in to this, because if you do, then I know you're not strong enough.
Oh my God, give me an example.
It might be something like I push a man to say, I'm going to come home when I want. I'm going to come on girls' trips. I'm going to do whatever I want. And then when you actually give in and say, okay, essentially she feels like she's not being protected. So she feels like nobody's governing her.
You don't have a spine.
You're not responsible. Or she might say, I'm talking to my ex-boyfriend, and you say, I don't feel comfortable with that. She'll be like, no, you have to, I have to. Fine, he accepts it. Essentially, she's saying that you don't mind if I have an affair. Bye. Essentially, what we're begging for sometimes is the boundary. We're not looking for you to bow down. So hard for men to figure that out.
Right.
I feel so bad
So
for men.
funny.
It's like reverse psychology all the time, unfortunately.
Women are wondering, like, why aren't men wanting to get married these days? Why are men not even approaching me and talking to me anymore? Why are men checking out completely? Look at the risk reward of getting into a relationship with a woman, potentially for a family and kids. You know, if you want to sleep around and just like hoe it up as a dude, and salute, brother, go handle business. The game isn't the same for us.
Is that enough?
Can you find happiness? Can you find happiness and joy? For some men, it's great. But I think every man on a deeper level yearns for a family, yearns for that dream, like a woman that's supportive, nurturing.
There's been some great work on what behavioral markers predict divorce in couples counseling.
Really solid work. Okay, so here's one predictor. When the couple is talking in front of a therapist and one of them or the other or both roll their eyes, there's like a 95% chance they're going to be divorced within 6 months. And that's contempt, eh? But here's another cool fact from that research. If you have people track the number of positive and negative interactions with their partner, you can calculate ratios, and then you can see what the ratio is that lends itself to the successful maintenance of a relationship. And so you might think, well, the more positive interactions, the better. And that's kind of true. So if it falls below 5 positive to 1 negative, the relationship is in danger.
Yeah.
But if it rises above 11 to 1, the relationship is also in danger. Well, you want support and love, and you want most of your interactions to be positive, but you want your partner to slap you now and then when you're being stupid.
What is a time where you felt that you failed that you learned a valuable lesson from?
That's such a hard question. Getting divorced was a big lesson.
Okay.
Yeah.
How come? What happened?
For a long time, you know, like in your 20s and 30s, like getting married was a big goal, and I got married. And then I realized that that's not everything. And what I learned through being married was that knowing who you are, knowing your values, and knowing your non-negotiables is so much more important than anything else. It could be more important than the person that you love. And that was a huge lesson for me.
So do you think you didn't know yourself before getting married?
I think I didn't really know how important my values were to me before I got married.
What is true love like, in your opinion?
When I find out, I'll let you know.
Why did it not work, if you don't mind me asking?
Because I wanted it to work so much that I was willing to overlook aspects of him and myself that didn't align with my true values. And that's why it didn't work.
Ultimatums in relationships can be detrimental, especially when issued to mature men who value autonomy, respect, and open communication. These men often feel threatened by ultimatums, leading to a defensive reaction and stifling communication. They also prefer conflict resolution through constructive discussions, which can lead to resentment and emotional breakdown. The threat implicit in ultimatums can backfire by eroding the foundational respect in the relationship. Respect is a two-way street, and issuing an ultimatum can signal a lack of respect for the partner's perspective and autonomy. This loss of respect is often reciprocated, as the men lose respect for the women who issue the ultimatum. Many men are fortunate to receive early warning signs before marriage, such as challenging behavior or tantrums, and make the wise decision to call off the wedding, sometimes just a day before the event. This decision demonstrates a strong sense of self-awareness and foresight, preventing unhappy and turbulent marriages and avoiding future distress and the complexities of a divorce. Calling off a wedding at the last minute may seem drastic, but it is often a courageous step towards ensuring long-term happiness and well-being. It takes strength and clarity to acknowledge when a relationship is not right, especially under societal and familial pressures. These men prioritize their future peace and emotional health, making them wise and responsible decision-makers in their own lives.
Today on Alpha Male, if you enjoyed the video, please hit the like and subscribe button. Don't forget